Our audio paths are going to be a little off. Why don't we do this? Put Jacob back in 1, so that way our audio is married to Jacob's camera, and I'll just get a Nat mic and stick it on top of the tent or something, and we'll pull it in through the mixer. Okay, I'll fix that. Don't worry. All right, we're climbing on bandwidth. Go back to 1. Yep, and call sidearm. What's up?
Is there an outlet I can plug?
Yes, somewhere. We'll figure it out. Hey, put that back on. No, let's do a mic check real quick. All right, you're in 1, Nick. If you need to reach across the table, you're in 1.
That's me. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Name, where you're from, what we're doing here.
Nick Banaszak, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Game 1 today between the Thomas Nighthawks and the Cumberland Phoenix. Let's go over some of the names. Luke Henry, Nicholas Roll, Aiden Doherty, Daniel Pickin, Jonathan Waldenstrom, Sterla Armanson, Brandon Gonzalez, Martin Walsh, John Azair. For Thomas, Brandon Crambeck, Owen Cooper, Ben Barnes, Mark Lesher. Good.
Check. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lawrenceville, Georgia, on the campus of Georgia Gwinnett College. We are live from the Grizzly Soccer Complex, where somebody's going to play somebody, and somebody's going to win. Expert analysis from the voice of the Grizzlies, Matt Mahoney.
Shit. Here it is.
Are we good? They can hear us and see us? Can you hear us and see us? Can you hear us? Okay, you're good. All right, we're almost done here. We want to make sure sidearm.
Check. 1, 2. Aiden Doherty.
The Nighthawks versus the Phoenix.
That's a first. First for me, at least.
Yeah, not too many. There's not too many. There's not too many Phoenixes. What's the plural form of Phoenix?
I think it's the Phoenix.
The Phoenix?
I don't know.
Is it like the Heat?
That's what I'm going to say, yeah.
The Heats. The Heats are playing well. The Phoenix are here. I think it's the plural form. It's like sheep. We're good? I'm going to go Phoenix and Phoenix. Phoenix is playing well. Phoenix are playing well.
Not a lot of. Let's just keep things simple.
Julian is a Phoenix. That works. All right, I'm muting this. You good, Nick?
Yeah, I'm good.
That wind is brutal. All right, if the wind doesn't blow, can you hear the music? Check, 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 check. And then during the game, how's that balance? Check, check, check. Welcome. Who's loud? Make it louder. That's not bad. All right, hold on. I'll let me think about this. Ooh, I got an idea. Hold on. Holla at your boy. It's a little echoey. It's less wind. And I'll hear it because it's in through the mix, so I'll adjust it if it gets too crazy. All right, same page. All right, that mic is hot right there. Okay, so be careful what y'all talking about.
So politics, huh?
Sorry, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, up, on, down, you're muted. Beautiful. All right, let me go check in with Dale.
You do.
Everybody good? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll roll intro the second I see 0-0.
I don't think you need to roll intro.
Oh,
Too much business going on.
fair.
Gun chips!
Today's a good day, man.
Nick, did you get some lunch?
I'm good right now, man.
Make sure
I had a
Art
late
gets
breakfast.
some lunch too as well.
All right, thank you.
Looks like he's down there running for mayor.
Good, right? Like, Jacob, you know what's a good day? When the worst thing that happens is you expect a Philly cheesesteak and you get a quote. Like, oh, the horror. I did get a Philly cheesesteak. I'm telling you, the food is amazing. Jacob, did you know
Lawrenceville, Georgia, the Georgia Gwinnett College campus and the Grizzly Soccer Complex. For this afternoon's match between the Cumberland University Phoenix and the Thomas University Nighthawks. Georgia Gwinnett College and the NAI and Georgia supporting character-driven and inclusive athletics. Help us create a positive, competitive environment by showing respect for today's student athletes, officials, and spectators. GGC is committed to the NAI Championship Cares principles of integrity, respect, responsibility, sportsmanship, and servant leadership at all times. And we ask for your help to create a positive playing environment. Keep playing, keep learning, keep growing, game on. Learn more about opportunities to play in the NAIA at NAIA.org. The GGC campus is a smoke-free environment. Additionally, alcoholic beverages or pets of any kind are not permitted on the premises. The restroom facilities are located both here at the field and the far sideline up the walking path into the building. This will be the only match played today as part of the Labor Day Classic. Georgia Gwinnett College will face Thomas on Monday at noon. Today's match will be 2 45-minute periods.
Is that how soccer works? You sure? Wow. Can it be only 2 45-minute halves, Dale?
Yeah.
Or does that mean we can bypass overtime? Anybody work Thursday last night? Anybody working the playoffs?
I'm done this season.
I think y'all hate me. Yeah, just like it seemed like we became I like it.
A little late there, but okay. Yep.
Want water?
It's so quiet, man. I can actually hear you eating your chips on the mic over there.
What?
James.
James, who is he here supporting?
One of his son is playing for Cumberland.
You know who that is, the son?
Yeah.
He's from Scotland, right?
Pickin.
Picking?
Yeah, he's from Glasgow.
Picking. Oh, we got number 3. There's a nugget. Picking down all the way from number 2. Can I see your credentials, please, sir? Yep, I'll show my Come, slide out, Steve. Over here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starters for today's match. First up, for the Phoenix of Cumberland University, who stand 1-1 on the season. In goal, number 1, Nicholas Rule. Number 2, Aiden Daughtery. Number 3, Daniel Picken. Number 4, Jonathan Walderstrom. Number 8, Martin Walsh. Number 9, John Azar. Number 10, Tyler Watson. Number 11, Bakari Bagayoko. Number 16, Wilson Muskioka. Number 22, Abdul Khalid Abdi. And number 23, Austin Orizoni. The Phoenix are coached by Adam Grant. And now the starters for the Nighthawks of Thomas University, who stand 1-0 on the season. In goal, number 1, Ben Barnes. Number 2, Mark Lesher. Number 3, Myke Zamor. Number 4, Logan Moriarty. Number 6, Martin Griswold. Number 9, Salvador Marin. Number 10, Gavin Rashford-Smith. Number 11, Renee Rivera. Number 13, Aaron Wimberly. Number 17, Kevin Daly. And number 22, Mateo Arbelayes. The Nighthawks are coached by Ricky Zambrano. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem.
And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Grizzly Soccer Complex here in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Nick Banaszak alongside Matt Mahoney here on the Grizzly Digital Network, and got a fantastic day of soccer ahead here at the annual Grizzly Labor Day Classic. And today here, our opening matchup, it is the Thomas Nighthawks out of Thomasville, Georgia, taking on the Cumberland Phoenix from Lebanon, Tennessee. And both these teams, of course, very similar coming into this game. Both 2018 regular season conference champs, senior-laden squads on both sides. And, Matt, we had originally anticipated 2 games today here, but with the hurricane changing some of the plans for this weekend, still have a great matchup here in this opener.
Absolutely. We did not want to alter the hospitality and the entertainment for both the Nighthawks and the Phoenix fans that are expecting to broadcast their games here in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and we didn't want to waver away from that. SCAD, under strenuous circumstances, did not want to make the trip up here. We completely understand, support them. And of course, we send our blessings and our thoughts there down not only through Savannah, Georgia, but through the entire eastern coast there that deal with the Atlantic Ocean and the hurricane that's headed toward them. But, Nick, here today, both these coaches super excited about playing the opposition. I don't know if that's ever been true. There's always one coach that's a little wary about his team, but both these teams coming off of huge blowouts recently, and both coaches with question marks go, I don't know how good my team is. We'll find out today.
Absolutely. Certainly a chance for both these squads to make a statement early on in the season, both of them receiving votes in the 2019 NAIA preseason national poll. So either of these squads get a victory here today. Of course, Thomas is going to play the 2 this weekend, playing Georgia Gwinnett College on Monday. It's an opportunity for them to move on up into that top 25. So we're about to get things underway here. Opening kick. Beautiful day in Lawrenceville. Expect to hit about the mid-80s on this Saturday.
That sounds good to me.
Absolutely. Got a nice breeze rolling through. And so we're underway here in the first half between the Thomas Nighthawks and the Cumberland Phoenix. Last year, the Nighthawks finishing with 9 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws. And, of course, as mentioned, the 2018 Sun Conference regular season championship. Cumberland also the regular season champs out of the Mid-South Conference, finishing 10-5-4 and going undefeated in the league. 6 wins, no losses, just 1 draw. So very similar. Again, senior-laden teams on both of these sides. And we're underway with the throw-in as Thomas will take it out.
It's interesting you mentioned the weather here. Talking to Ricky Zambrano before the match starts, he's obviously excited to be here in Lawrenceville to take on some top-quality competition. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but because of the absence of SCAD, they're the only team that now has to play 2 games in 3 days over this Labor Day weekend. He's looking forward to the challenge, but mostly he was looking forward to make the trip up here to Atlanta because to run from the humidity down there in South Georgia. He's loving, he said the word cooler temperatures. I don't know if I was ready to go there just yet. But the mid-80s, the humidity's not nearly as bad. It will get warm down there on the turf, but just the opposite is true for this Cumberland squad who comes out of Middle Tennessee. They're dealing with humidity probably for the first time here tonight. So it's interesting geographically, these 2 teams meeting in the middle, and maybe not necessarily in this first half, but maybe late in the second half, that becomes an issue for one of these teams.
And the Phoenix works to the edge of the box, cross in, and headed away by the Nighthawks. Of course, Cumberland led by, that ball is cleared away. The Phoenix have number 11, Bakari Bagayoko out of the Bronx, New York. Dangerous forward up front. Gained some action early as number 2 for Thomas, Mark Lesher, works it upfield.
You mentioned Bagayoko, and he's one of those guys that he's going to wear the Cumberland red, the maroon, and wear number 11. And when he touches the ball, everyone holds their breath. And if you're Thomas, you hold the breath, hope nothing bad happens. For Cumberland fans, you hope something electric happens when he touches the ball. So keep an eye on him and number 11 as he runs around out there.
And it's Cumberland, number 4, Jonathan Waldenstrom, working it up. Nighthawks take it back. Again, 11 returning starters coming in this matchup for Thomas. There's a shot clear in the box, and we have offsides. Talking to Coach Zambrano before the game for Thomas, and we're talking about just the depth of that experience. And he said the team meals can get interesting sometimes when seniors usually eat first, but more than half the squad are seniors, so you got a big rush to the dinner table. But not a bad problem to have, especially early on in the season, as all these teams, of course, trying to work out the early season kinks.
I don't think there's any coach that would trade 11 seniors for 11 freshmen.
Not a doubt. Thomas, of course, 3-time qualifiers for the NAIA National Tournament, most recently in 2016. And just 5 years ago, during the 2014 season, spent much of that time as the number 1 ranked team in the season, in the country. So certainly a lot of experience. Here comes Cumberland. And that was Martin Walsh out of County Mayo, Ireland, forced outside, and we'll have a goal kick. Ben Barnes, of course, between the pipes today. For Thomas, out of Hemel Hempstead, England, 5 clean sheets last season for Barnes. And certainly one of the top goalkeepers out of the Sun Conference. Barnes works it over to Martin Griswold. There's Albert Liz. Moriarty works it up. pass into Orchard Smith. Shot and deflected away off the rebound, and that was Aaron Wimberly, but not close there.
The advantages for having a coach like Ricky Zambrano in his 15th season and being here at Georgia Gwinnett for 6. I've seen his team play quite a number of times, and already I see some of the historic characteristics of this program come to life in 2019. They are very opportunistic in the midfield. They love to keep possession, but as soon as they see a crack in the door, they're going to strike, and they're always on the same page in the final third, and that's a great opportunity there for the Nighthawks getting into that final third, not only getting one shot off, but two, and at least the first one being somewhat threatening.
There's a cross to Bagayoko into the box, controls it, but not able to keep it from going out of bounds. But you see early, he's the man they're going to be looking for.
And the Nighthawks fans exhale.
Absolutely. Cumberland, of course, as we mentioned, returning a lot of key pieces from last year's team, bringing back not just Bagayoko and Martin Walsh, also midfielders Tyler Watson, Brandon Gonzalez, and Abdul Khalik Abdi. Jonathan Waldenstrom starting day, also a big part of that back line as Thomas works it upfield.
And again, to stack the deck a little bit here in the first 7 minutes to set the tone, you mentioned it, Nick. Both these teams won regular season titles in their respective conferences, and both these teams are receiving votes as a result of that this season. Well, what a match like this does here, it really represents and carries the characteristics of two of the best teams in two very good soccer conferences going toe-to-toe. And so this is almost going to be used as a reference point. So if you're Cumberland and you win this game, if you beat Cumberland and you're part of that Mid-South Conference or the Southern States Conference, you get to say, hey, we beat one of the better teams in that conference. And the same thing is true for Thomas. They don't get as much exposure being from the Sun Conference, so they're taking advantage of this opportunity to play Georgia Gwinnett, play Cumberland, not only to get inside that top 25, but they can shape themselves in the future for not only higher rankings, but really position themselves for seeding if they're fortunate enough to get in that national championship.
There's Walsh with the cross in and how to play, but absolutely, you're right. I mean, this is certainly an opportunity to polish that resume, make a statement later on in the fall when, of course, everyone's gunning for Irvine, California. That's the ultimate prize, to get to the last 16 of the national tournament.
And not to put too much pressure on these guys down there in the field, but we'll go with the theory of they're seniors, they can handle the pressure. They're not just carrying the flag for themselves or their coach or their families or their friends or their campus. They're carrying the conference flag today too as well, because if you can come in here and beat a team that's the best of another conference, and then even if you're someone like Kaiser, who's in the Sun Conference, who may not play Cumberland, but can beat Thomas, who beat Cumberland, they can shoot themselves up into the top 25 or even further along. And again, set themselves up in that seeding for the national tournament. So I know it's August, or it's the very last day of August, and I know it's early in the season. I know it's a big test for both these coaches, but this is going to be a huge reference point for every member of this conference of these two respective organizations.
No doubt about it. And as mentioned, of course, Thomas is going to play two this Labor Day weekend. They'll take on the host, number 12, Georgia Gwinnett College Grizzlies, on Monday at noon. Of course, the Grizzlies looking to get back to the national tournament this season, bringing a lot of returning experience back.
And we can't quite use the word rivalry here at Georgia Gwinnett College because there's not that sort of conference regularity that GG sees in their schedule, but Thomas is one of the more frequent members of a GGC schedule year in and year out, so that's going to have a lot of highly anticipated energy on Monday.
There's Mateo Arbeliz battling, gets it out to Lesher. Rochford Smith crossing to the box and picked up. And look at Ben Barnes able to get in there. Now check that. That's Nicholas Rule getting in there at the last moment, but a dangerous cross in there by Gavin Rochford Smith.
What a play by the Cumberland goalkeeper. Just abandoned his line altogether. Had time to set up and serve that shot there, but the goalkeeper comes down, cuts down the ankle, and just like an absolute monster attacks the ball, goes to the player, gets it, and secures this early 0-0 draw.
Cumberland will work it upfield. There's Walsh on the far side. Tries to trace it down, but just out of his reach, and there will be a goal kick for Thomas.
Nice play there by Rule. I can't get over that. The sophomore to Denmark, 6'4", gets on the turf and just swallows that ball. Because How many times do you see the goalkeeper just stand there, put his heels on the line, and just take the bullet from point-blank range just because that's what he's taught to do? But instincts took over there. He thought he'd capitalize on the opportunity. Here's a tough turnover.
And intercepted. Fired in the goal, and that's in there for Cumberland as Tyler Watson strikes early. Was able to intercept it there in the box. And Tyler Watson, the junior midfielder from Simi Valley, California, puts the Phoenix on top here. In the 12th minute, it's 1-0. Cumberland with the early lead.
Beautiful job. A sign of a really good team and a really good player is capitalizing on the other team's mistake. Clearly a mistake across that back line. Not the best organization there trying to keep that possession and get it out of the back. They turn it over, and Watson just buries it. No doubt about it there. Because, Nick, you know, how many times did you see that guy get overzealous, and especially a midfielder, this early in the season, just blast that ball over the bar? No, he buried it into the net for Watson and gets the Phoenix on top early 1-0 for that not only match supremacy, but perhaps conference supremacy as well.
Yep, great discipline there by Watson to finish strong. There's Arbaliz, tripped up. No whistle.
So it's interesting how a goal always picks up the intensity just a little bit down there on the pitch.
A little extra pep in the step now as Bagayoko clears it out to the far side. There's Doherty, works it up to Watson. Over to Azar, cross into the box. And just out of reach of Martin Walsh.
Beautiful ball there on the far side. Right winger for the Phoenix, playing all the way down that right rail. Got north, put it right inside the 6. That's a dangerous ball because it's far enough away from the goalkeeper that he can't make a play, but it's in a good, dangerous spot for his teammate and Walsh to try to finish that ball. So a great job there on that far side. I believe that was number.
It was Azar ending on the cross there.
Correct.
Yep. Arbaliz gives chase, and that will be cleared out by Rule.
Such a cool, calm head by Rule there. Knew he wasn't going to be able to get his hands on that ball because it was outside the box. Just touched it around the Thomas attacker and played a simple ball out of play.
Kevin Daly, a sophomore. Of course, he was honorable mention all-conference last year as a freshman, so one of the great young stars on this Nighthawk squad. There's a foul.
A little bit too much contact on the backside there by Musoka, and so that sets up a free kick. It's a little bit out of range there. Should be pretty comfortable for Rule, the goalkeeper, but there's too much hands on the back there. Might have went down kind of lightly, but an easy whistle for the official.
It's going to be Gavin Rochford-Smith, the senior from Bath, England, taking this free kick.
And you're stuck in no man's land right now. You're probably too far out for a quality strike, but you're really too close to try to loop something in the box, get any sort of energy on the ball toward the goal. Tough spot here.
Fired in and diving stop by Rule, and temporarily came off, but able to quickly recover.
So Rochford-Smith actually had to deflect off the wall, and changing his angle is Rule. What an athletic play by the Cumberland goalkeeper.
He showed some agility early on here as Cumberland up 1-0 here in the 14th minute of play. Lesher over to Moriarty. Takes his time, gets it back to Rule. Check that. It's Jonathan Wallstrom out of Oslo, Norway, up to Bagayoko. And it will be a throw into Thomas.
Again, a very characteristic team for Ricky Zambrano in his 15th season at the helm for the Nighthawks. When they don't have possession, Nick, you can see they are very compact. You can see all the way from their back line all the way to their target forward is no more than 40 yards, maybe generously 45 yards. Very compact with 11 players behind the ball. It's not necessarily parking the bus where they put 11 guys inside the box, but it's very compact, very tight, because what happens is, just as this example here, when they get that turnover, now look how spread out they are. Look how quickly they get to stretching the field and keeping that formation, looking for that opportunistic opportunity there on the midfield.
We talked about that early on with Coach Zambrano. They go by pockets, so a very disciplined, structured squad. They don't do a whole lot of full-out pressing, but they will apply pressure within those different pockets.
It's almost as if in the run of play, they create a counterattack off of every turnover because they're able to spread the field so quickly off of turnovers that it leaves the defense a little bit of a scramble.
There's Waldenstrom. And they'll work it back over to Rule.
Meanwhile, if you're Cumberland, and again, from experience from watching GGC play Thomas, you might want to look for the long ball, just like this one here. Maybe try to get one in behind that back line, but a great play defensively there by the senior for the Nighthawks there, and Mark Lester, excuse me. And so they're just very veteran on how to handle those long balls. But if you can get, and the key is, Nick, again, not to put too many cards on the table here, but a through ball on the ground is what's going to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
Versus the long ball over the top. I mean, if you can get a speedster on the outside like Cumberland has on this near side, and Bagiaco, I mean, he definitely has the tools to get in behind that defense and work a one-on-one. But it's almost as if Thomas sometimes baits you into that. They want you to send the long ball because they can handle it across that back line. So you're going to be very strategic and very cognitive of how you're going to attack that Thomas team that's very compact defensively.
And into the 17th minute, it is 1-0 Cumberland leading Thomas. Here's a shot into the box and quickly cleared out by Cumberland. That's John Azar fighting for it as the Nighthawks able to retain possession. Both teams 2 shots thus far. And it was Tyler Watson, the junior midfielder from Simi Valley, California, putting the Phoenix ahead 1-0. Early on in this matchup. There's Daly giving chase. Works it around to the near side. Over to Lesher. Thomas again, very patient. Content to work it around. Very much a possession-oriented team.
Good run out of the back there by Lester, but able to fill in from a formation standpoint.
There's Azar. And it goes back to Arbeles. It's Thomas. Just again probing, looking for that quick opening. Those midfielders just continue to work it around. There's ahead to Wimberly. Lesher. And just off sides there was number 9, Salvador Moraine. Just a half step too early there was the...
Little bit of timing there. The two made eye contact with each other. They're all on the same page. It's just Lester just didn't deliver that quite at the right moment that Martin wanted. They'll get that worked out. Still early in the year.
Absolutely. Moraine, of course, had a goal. That 11-0 win over Trinity Baptist for Thomas.
I think everyone scored in that game.
Yeah, a lot of wealth to be shared in that one.
And the same thing is true for Thomas. Or, excuse me, for Cumberland. I mean, they played Fisk in a 14-0 victory last time they're out.
Of course, Cumberland 1-1 on the season. Lost that opener to Tennessee Wesleyan 4-2. But again, that big win. And here's a dangerous opportunity there as that was number 22, Abdul Khalik Abdi.
And again, another turnover by the back line for Thomas that almost ended up in a promising goal-scoring opportunity. Abdi just, that third touch just a little bit too long, and the center back for the Nighthawks was able to recover.
And there's a foul there.
A little frustration there for the same center back there. And Garzwa, who just, again, made the mistake, able to recover, but commits the foul there.
Bagayoko slowly working his way up. So we have a free kick opportunity here for the Phoenix.
This one's definitely beyond anyone's range at any level for a shot on target. So Thomas is going to be on their mark, which is going to hold right at the 18.
And it will be Martin Walsh, the sophomore from County Mayo, Ireland. Into the box and quickly cleared out. Picked up by Lesher, but that Nighthawk defense quickly cleared it away.
Yeah, that's Daly that got on the turf there and didn't let that shot get off. Deflected at point-blank range. And now Thomas able to recover here. Forces a goal kick.
So Austin Moranzoni trying to get out of trouble there, but wasn't able to save it. So it's a goal kick as Ben Barnes will get it back into play here. 22nd minute, 1-0. Cumberland leading Thomas. An early goal by Sims, giving the Phoenix a lead. Check that, Tyler Watson on the goal there. Roll clears it out. Walsh looking for Azar, but it's intercepted. And the Nighthawks on the attack again. Here's got Rochford Smith into the box, and Arba Lees just a little too much power on that one. He definitely had an opportunity there.
And again, it was almost like Thomas was playing with 12 men there. They just found the extra pass, the open man, and a great opportunity into the box. But Arba Lees just blasted over the bar.
So Cumberland will work it back into possession here. Pressure applied by Marine, and
Been so impressed by Rule's just calm demeanor. Always cool, calm, and collected. Never panicked. Has played well with his feet as well as his hands. In goal for Cumberland.
Barnes works it out to Moriarty. There's a pass on the near side over to Lesher. Azar. Martin Walsh. And he is dispossessed there. And you can see those midfielders for Thomas. Just an incredible work rate. Applying a lot of pressure early and able to win a lot of those free balls. There's an opportunity, and that shot is into the post, but it's going to be a whistle.
They call it handball.
Yep, handball.
By the way, that was all set up there by DCECO. Beautiful ball in the midfield there. Or no, excuse me, that was Wimberley. Wimberley intercepted it there in the midfield, put a beautiful ball back over top of the defense. And again, opportunistic for Thomas. Sometimes they almost lull you to sleep so much as they possess the ball casually, but as soon as they find that opening opportunity, they strike quickly.
So Cumberland here in the first month and a half of the season, they'll have 3 matches against teams who are either ranked or receiving votes. Of course, one of them coming right now against Thomas. Into the box, down goes Marine.
Way too casual. Yes, there was contact shoulder to shoulder, good quality defending there, but not enough there to warrant a penalty kick.
Hawks quickly recover.
And I'll give Marine credit here. He's petitioning to the right people. And whether he went down lightly or he was actually fouled, he's doing the right thing and bringing it to the correct people's attention, as including the linesman to the near side. Feels as if that he was obstructed his right to the ball. But the first counseling session here is intended for the Thomas center back and the captain wearing the arm sleeve, Logan Motarni.
Marines had some opportunities early, of course. The junior forward from Santa Tecla, El Salvador. He's one of the big guns up front for the Nighthawks.
A little bit of wind here in Thomas's face as they strike this ball. Keep that in mind.
Low into the box. Giving chase is Wimberly.
Rockford Smith's going to wish he had a do-over on that one.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to thread the needle a little bit. He had two white shirts and a near post that could have created something fancy, but just threaded the needle a little bit too much there.
There's a throw in off the foot of Bagayoko. And back to the Nighthawks. Thomas again, 11 starters coming back from last season. Picked number 2 in the preseason Sun Conference poll as they look to defend their regular season conference championship. Here's Wimberly. Over to Daly. It's a beautiful weekend here in Metro Atlanta. A lot of the national news has been about the hurricane coming out in the Atlantic, but here we expect sunny skies all weekend long, pleasant temperatures as we appear to be breaking those ultra high temperatures from the dog days of summer.
Thank goodness.
September is almost here.
And as much as it is it is a national news and affecting us here in Atlanta, especially with people traveling, having friends and family, and of course those down in Savannah, Georgia, or friends at SCAD, you know, when they show up in a different color uniform, Nick, all of a sudden they become your enemy. But when we leave the soccer pitch, we're all in this together. You know, they're all student athletes, we're all coaches, we're all administrators, whatever the case may be in small college athletics, and it's just a beautiful opportunity to impact the young men's and young women's lives. And so something like a hurricane really put things in perspective. And so we certainly want to send our well wishes, not only just SCAD, who's making the cognitive decision not to travel to Atlanta this weekend, but all of our friends across that Atlantic coast, up and down the Carolinas, through Georgia, and even certainly down into Florida as they prepare for potential disaster. And as awful as it sounds, and thinking about them and as relevant is in the news and how does it affect this tournament, fortunately enough that it really hasn't affected the weather forecast here for Metro Atlanta. And so, again, the best we can do is just kind of be there for anyone that needs us to be and provide support in any number of ways. And so, in order to do that, we're playing soccer here between Thomas and Cumberland. We're broadcasting you live for it, and we send our best wishes to those in Savannah, Georgia, and the SCAD campus.
Absolutely. 17 and a half minutes to go here in the opening half. 1-0. Cumberland on top of Phoenix. An early goal by Tyler Watson, the difference. As the Nighthawks have enjoyed the bulk of the possession here, but down a goal after that early miscue that Watson was able to capitalize on. There's a battle. Azar looking for it. Down to Watson. Into the box, goes down.
That's a lot of contact.
Let's see what happens here.
Depends on where he says the contact happened.
May have been just right outside the 18-yard line there.
Certainly Watson's momentum carried him into the penalty area, and he came crashing down inside the box. But I think the referee in blue may have this one right, with contact occurring just outside that arc of the penalty circle.
It appears where the spot is going to be, so we'll have a dangerous free kick opportunity here for the Phoenix as they look to tack one more in.
This would be a huge momentum swing for Cumberland right before halftime. And this is ultra dangerous. I mean, anytime you got a 5-man wall for a goalkeeper, everyone has to be on their toes and ready to go. So many options for the Phoenix here between ball strikers, between creativity and getting a better angle and a better shot.
Got Azar. Azar and Musioka both behind the ball there.
I think Musioka takes this. What do you got?
Let's see. It is Azar. Shot off the post and cleared away by Thomas. Azar just missing there. There's Walsh. Fires one of it. It's deflected. Bagayoko giving chase. Finds Azar. And Thomas very fortunate to escape there. And there's a free ball through now to Rochford Smith. Trying to get past two defenders and is dispossessed as Lesher clears it away. Check that. That's Doherty clearing it away.
All right, let's go back here. John is our freshman out of Australia, playing in his first couple of games for the Phoenix. That's how much confidence in how good he is, the Phoenix allowing him to take that free kick, first of all. Second of all, you can't hit that ball any better. I mean, it hits the bottom part of the crossbar, and the goalkeeper never left his feet. He just stared at it, and just unfortunately, the ball just is almost too big. Because you can't hit it any better, and if it's a quarter of an inch lower, it's in the back of the net. But he hit probably the worst part of the crossbar, and it goes straight down, back into play. No one else is there for the rebound, but a phenomenal strike by John Azar.
Yep. Nothing you can do really there in that situation if you're the goalkeeper. And Ben Barnes, I'm sure, certainly thankful, was just a few inches too high. 1-0 Cumberland. Just over 14 minutes to go here. Bagayoko take a tumble.
Yeah, I think we're going to see our first plastic here. So, by the way, substitution is Azar. After he takes that free kick, he steps off. Stepping on is Ben Siri. He's going to come to that left forward position, which pushes Bagayoko to that target forward position, in which he gets his first touch. And you see he creates a beautiful opportunity there, draws a wonderful foul, and Thomas is forced to commit the foul and is booked with a yellow card here. And about 14 minutes left till halftime. So, a lot of momentum right now for the Phoenix heading in toward that halftime horn.
So we'll have another free kick here just outside the edge of the 18-yard box.
We'll get confirmation on that card. We'll pass that along to you. But one of the two center backs there for Thomas. That's exactly who. Bagayoko split right between the two of them. So this one a little bit further out. Again, Azar just subbed off, so he won't step over this ball. And I believe now my wildest dreams will come true. And Musoko is going to take this shot.
Musoko fires it in. Another one off the top of the post. You got to be kidding me. A battle for it. Headed in, cleared off the line by number 6, Martin Griswold.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Back-to-back free kicks. Hit the exact same spot of the crossbar. One just a hair too low, the other just a hair too high.
So it will be Martin Walsh taking the corner for the Phoenix. And how about that? 2 free kicks right out the edge of the box, bumped off the top.
Spot of the crossbar.
Into the box. There's a scrum, and Thomas, someone got a boot on it and able to get it out.
Yeah, Doherty was right there. I mean, he had a gift for the center back. He had a gift right in his lap inside the 6. You just got to get a piece of the body on it. A foot, a cleat, a shin guard, a head. Sometimes even an elbow works from that close. But just swung and missed and drew contact with the defender for Thomas there. But not going to get a better opportunity. The ball just pinballing around there, just jumps right on top of you. Not a whole lot you can do about it. But Cumberland here just pouncing all over Thomas in this first half.
So the Phoenix looking hungry here. Definitely been the aggressor the last few minutes after Thomas enjoyed a lot of the possession early. There's another foul. It's Rochford Smith going down. Four shots by Cumberland, 3 by Thomas thus far. It's out to number 9, Marine. And it will be a throw in for Thomas. And not before another substitution.
I don't know if this is scheduled or not for Ricky Zambrano. Don't know this Thomas team all too well, but I think the veteran coach feeling the momentum shift toward Cumberland just a little bit in this first half. Going to make a pair of subs to try to change that momentum.
That's Salvador Marine coming off. Jack Chambers enters the game. Senior from Conisquay, Wales. Over to Zamor. Of course, Jack Chambers, we talked with Coach Zambrano before the game, 2-time all-conference coming off the bench. So, again, showing you the quality of the depth here that the Nighthawks have.
Yeah, he comes in for Abalez, a junior out of Orlando, Florida. Mateo's had a pretty good first half here. Had almost had a great assist that was left for naught.
Bagayoko tries to get a boot on it. It's accidentally deflected in, and there to poach it is Cumberland as they take a 2-0 lead. And
I believe that's Donovan Dixon, if I'm not mistaken. No.
Let's see. I think
Ben
that's
Siri.
number 12.
No, Ben Siri, 18.
Yeah, Ben Siri. He's the freshman. Just into the game a few minutes ago, and Ben Siri doubles the lead as Cumberland takes a 2-0 lead. And an unfortunate turn of events there for Thomas as the defender trying to clear it away had a weak clear out, and right there to pounce on it was Ben Siri.
And again, all of it started with Bagayoko, that new target. He started on the left, now he's moved to the target forward spot. We talked about how electric he is, gets his paws on the ball there, makes something happen. Again, a little bit of a mistake there by Thomas. Siri cleans up on the back door.
So Cumberland now on top 2-0.
A lot of momentum. We talked about it. They banged on the door for about 15 minutes. Had a lot of momentum, a lot of great opportunities at the crossbar twice, and now they cash in the second goal late in this first half.
Again, they have come close a few times now, so figured it was coming. Intercepted, Siri. Jack Chambers into the game now. Again, he's a senior, 2-time all-conference coming off the bench. That 12th man star power. Trying to provide a spark plug here. So Nighthawks need to get something going.
I see Cumberland trying to take the air out of this ball just a little bit over the next 10 minutes or so. Cumberland coming here to Atlanta, making quite the statement in the first half.
Martin Walsh committing the foul. Quickly back into play by Thomas. So when Slotograph, senior from Pijs, Netherlands, now into the game.
So Adam Grant here certainly has to be happy with his first half performance out of his squad. 2-0 lead over Thomas, and we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, Nick. Just not only carrying that flag to Lawrenceville, Georgia. There's an opportunistic strike there.
Chambers just fires it.
A little overzealous, a little frustration maybe too as well. But Cumberland comes here carrying the flag for the Mid-South as the regular season champions from a year ago. Certainly those are the expectations in 2019, especially the senior-laden team. I would imagine internally they have bigger expectations than just winning a regular season title. And so climbing not only into that top 25 poll, perhaps doing battle in that Mid-South Conference tournament, and then, of course, punching their ticket to that national championship is probably what's talked about internally. And now expectations will only proceed and continue to grow with this team if they come away with a dominating solo performance versus this Thomas team in this Labor Day Classic hosted by Georgia Gwinnett College.
Of course, that's Adam Grant in his third season coaching the Phoenix, last year's Mid-South Conference Coach of the Year.
Not too bad. 2 seasons, 2 all-conference Coach of the Year honors. Very, very commendable, to say the least, that a newcomer to the league, and matter of fact, stays at the same institution but switches genders. He was the women's coach for a while there at Cumberland University. Now he's the men's coach and is back-to-back Mid-South men's soccer coach of the year. And so for his fellow peers, his other coaches in that conference, to see him as quite the competitor and quite the coach in his first 2 years at the helm of the men's soccer program is quite notable, to say the very least.
If you can coach, you can coach. Doesn't matter the gender or the level, and he's certainly proven himself thus far. Again, returning Bagayoko, first-team All-Conference, and 3 second-team All-Conference players last year. Martin Walsh, Tyler Watson, who scored earlier, and then Jonathan Walderstrom out of Norway. There's a quick whistle. So Cumberland again, 2-0 here. Just less than 7 minutes to go now here in the opening half. Tyler Watson and Ben Siri striking for the Phoenix. There's Chambers waiting. Loses the race to the ball there against Pickin. Chambers works it in. Cross into the box there by Rochford Smith, but right into the waiting hands of Nicholas Roll.
Veteran move there by Chambers. Goes shoulder to shoulder, stride for stride. No, he's not going to be able to keep possession, almost concedes possession, but forces a turnover. And basically his offense is right back to where it was, and Rochford Smith with a hard first touch couldn't keep it in play.
So Martin Walsh will get a breather on the bench.
Actually, I got Wimberly going off there. Wimberly going off for Thomas. And I believe checking in for the first time will be actually number 25, Ian Ward, senior out of Tallahassee, Florida. That's been a good pipeline for Ricky Zambrano, going across the Florida-Georgia line down into Tallahassee. Good area for club soccer. And Thomasville, Georgia, located all of about 30, 40 miles north of Tallahassee, Florida, down in the very southern part of the state. Good area for, good growing area of soccer over the last 10 years or so, and certainly Coach Zambrano, being at Thomas for 15 years, has benefited from that with a couple of final site appearances.
There's Ben Siri into Bagayoko. An opportunity here. Cross into the net it goes.
That guy's pretty good.
And Bakari Bagayoko makes it 3 for the Phoenix.
That guy's pretty good.
And you knew right there he had all that real estate to work with. He's going to be a...
He's as good as advertised. We talked about his electricity. We talked about his ability to take the breath out of the fans' lungs, and he does it again there. Gets an opportunity. That is a really tough angle to finish the ball, too, as well.
So it's 3 in the first half for Cumberland as they now take a commanding lead. And once he was open there with all that green grass to work with, can only hope and pray. And Bagayoko, wow, the junior from the Bronx, making a statement here.
Absolutely. And I was writing the headline in my head at halftime of how an impact a 2-0 lead at halftime was going to have, and it certainly wasn't going to count Thomas out. Here at GGC, we've had some heartbreaking experiences of Thomas's second half goals and come from behind draws and victories. So I was not going to count Thomas out by any stretch of the imagination, but you talk about sending some headlines across the nation. 3-0 at halftime versus a good Thomas team and a good Thomas program that's regular season conference champions from a year ago, returning a lot of healthy talent. Expectations were, I'm going to say, pretty normal there in Thomasville, Georgia for their men's soccer team, and Cumberland has made an absolute statement here in this first half.
So just over 3.5 minutes to play here at the Grizzly Soccer Complex. here at the 2019 Labor Day Classic, and Cumberland has come to play.
You know, it's interesting if you take the storylines that affected us about 48 hours ago with SCAD not making the trip for the Labor Day Classic. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Thomas is thinking, whoa, us. We've got to play 2 games in 3 days, and we're the only team to do that. I don't think they're saving anything for 8th-ranked Georgia or 12th-ranked Georgia Gwinnett on Monday. I don't think this is I don't think this is a negative side effect for either one of these teams. Thomas hasn't been limited at practice because of the hurricane or the weather. Certainly Cumberland has it. This is I'm going to argue with both teams coming off of blowout wins. This is quality efforts and quality opportunities for both these teams, and Cumberland has just taken it to them.
Bagayoko again into the box and cleared out. We'll have another corner kick. See just how quick his feet is. He's a big guy, over 6 feet.
He's got that
Very
stride,
shifty.
too. He's got that stride. Just when he gets going downhill, it's hard to stop. And as a defender, your only hope is that he makes a missed touch so you can take the ball away from him, or you got to foul him. I mean, those are only your 2 options as a defender.
Here's Ben Siri on the corner kick. Headed out. Ian Ward gets it away.
Smart move there. Smart move there by Musoka. He just, everything bottled up in the midfield there. You got a 3-0 lead, less than 2 minutes till halftime. Just send everything back to the goalkeeper and just get reset, get reshaped, get reformed, get refocused.
There's Doherty. I'll check that. That's Lesher. Up to Rochford Smith. Thomas just looking for an opportunity here. There's a.
You know, some would say this is a good moment here for Ricky Zambrano and this Thomas team with a halftime gut check. You kind of, what do you say to your team down 3-0 at halftime? I always think about the opposite. What if you're Adam Grant? What do you tell your team at halftime? Hey, boys, keep it up. You're doing great. You don't want to get complacent, but you've only played half of this game. So the challenge for Cumberland, how do you keep up this intensity? How do you keep these opportunities? How do you keep capitalizing on the mistakes by this Nighthawk defense? If you're Ricky Zambrano, you've been in these situations over your 15-year career. You got to push the right buttons. You got to find the right personnel, and you've got a whole 45 minutes of soccer to make this respectable and try to get back into this game.
There's Siri on the edge of the box, and it's a low liner that's well left of the goal.
And take it a step further. You said it, Nick. There's not just 1 or 2 seniors in this starting lineup or even in this rotation. You got an all-conference guy coming off the bench. This is where you may not need a Ricky Zambrano to give you a monumental halftime speech for the ages. This is when you turn to your buddy next to you, who you've been in 2-a-days with, who you've been in class with, who you've been in Thomasville, Georgia for a number of years now, and say, hey, this is not acceptable. This is not us. We've got to have some player accountability here and handle this internally. We've got to do better. This is not what we've prepared, and this is certainly not the representation of our school that we've wanted to show here through the first 45 minutes. So it may come internally with those seniors here for the green and white.
Absolutely. Well, it's all Cumberland here in the first half as the Phoenix take a commanding 3-0 lead. So 45 minutes down, 45 to go. We'll have a 15-minute or so break here for halftime. But again, Nick Banaszak alongside Matt Mahoney here on the Grizzly Digital Network. 3-0 Cumberland over Thomas at the break. We'll be back here in just a moment. Welcome back, fans. Nick Banaszak here alongside Matt Mahoney on the Grizzly Digital Network as we get ready to start the second half of play here in the first game of the 2019 Labor Day Classic, and it's been all Cumberland. The Phoenix leading Thomas 3-0 after a string of goals there in the first half. And it will be Cumberland with the opening kick here. Bagayoko, Tyler Watson, and Ben Siri all getting on the score line in half number one for the Phoenix. As Thomas looks to get things going here in the second half. The Nighthawks, of course, about that first third, 15 minutes or so of the first half, really enjoyed the bulk of possession, putting a lot of pressure on early. Midfielders really winning most of those open battles, but then the switch turned and Cumberland really just hit another level there in that final 25, 30 minutes or so, and several opportunities. Of course, this game could easily be 5-0. A couple free kicks that both went off the top goal post for the Phoenix. They are in command here, and Thomas will need to get something going early if they want to get back in this ball game. So Marine Salvador. Myke Zamor. Martin Griswold. And it's out of bounds on the far side and a throw in to Cumberland. So first half stats, 7 shots for Cumberland. 3 on goal, of course, all 3 of those going into the back of the net. 4 shots for Thomas, 1 on goal. A dozen fouls, 6 committed by each team. 1 yellow card on Thomas. Again, the most important stat, it's 3-0. The opening goal scored by Tyler Watson. Then later on, it was the freshman Ben Siri tapping one in. And then the headliner, the big junior Bakari Bagayoko, finding it after some open real estate. He was able to beat Ben Barnes, and so 3-0 Cumberland on top. Of course, Thomas, they're going to play 2 this weekend. They're going to play also on Labor Day against the host, 12th ranked Georgia Gwinnett College Grizzlies. As we talked about at the top of the broadcast, both of these squads, very similar storylines going in, both receiving votes in the preseason NAIA poll. One of them hoping to maybe crack the top 25 in the next edition that comes out in mid-September. Both Thomas and Cumberland winning their regular season conference championships last year. Cumberland, of course, out of the Mid-South Conference. And Thomas out of the Sun Conference. So just 3 minutes underway here in half number 2. Nicholas Roll in goal for Cumberland. We get ready for a corner kick here. It's going to be Jack Chambers putting it into play. Into the box, and nice outstretched arms there as Rule able to snare that one in. And he's showed some agility today. A couple timely leaps. Back to Roll as he kicks that out. It was into the box for number 27, Selwyn Slottograph, but not able to get his boot on it as Roll comes up.
You can tell just a little bit more intensity out of Thomas right out of the gate here. Pep talk from coach and company. Made some changes too as well, some adjustments, especially across that back line. New center back there for the Nighthawks. Not the same interior midfielders. What started the first half is starting the second half, so clearly some strings being pulled by Ricky Zambrano at halftime. But it's a much different mentality here for Cumberland, protecting a 3-goal lead in this second half.
Of course, one of those halftime changes, Sam Eyes, the senior out of Rugby, England, now on the front line for the Nighthawks. Jack Chambers, who came on as a substitute about midway through the first half, remaining in the match here. As the Nighthawks try to work it in there. That's Joao Victor Felix also into the game. It's a junior midfielder from Brazil.
And again, not the most ideal situation for the Nighthawks, but again, because of, we got a head collision here.
Oh,
Referee's going to stop play immediately here, and this is one of the new emphasis from a year ago for officials. Any sort of head injuries are going to stop play immediately, as these two gentlemen both going for the ball, and more in the ideal situation was the Thomas player, and I believe that's number 18. And Burning, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's Bailey Brunning.
So Brunning there was lined up for the header, and then trying to cut in front of him to win the header. And again, I don't think there's anything malicious meant by it, but Morenzoni kind of cut in front of him, and as a result, Burning won the header, but the follow-through by Morenzoni collided the sides of the heads of the two players. And Nick, you know this with all the recent information about head injuries and concussions, and even you hear some of the horror stories about CTE. It is such a remarkable difference now how important and how much of a priority is not only for coaches and players and athletic trainers, but now it's even talked about amongst officials and college administrators and athletic directors, and they're being proactive and cognitive about preventing injuries like this and not getting to the point where multiple concussions go undiagnosed and you have such negative side effects for these student athletes. And so great job there by our center official in blue. Stop play immediately, get medical treatment and attention to these individuals as quickly as possible to be diagnosed, and to make sure that player safety is the most important now. And this is what's hard, and there's not too many student athletes, we call them kids sometimes, but they're grown adults at 18, 19, and 20 years old, and you tell a guy and a competitor like Martin Walsh, Martin, buddy, I know you feel okay, but you're going to have to come with me. No. I want to stay here. These are my teammates. This is my jersey. I'm proud to wear these colors. I want to play. We have to win. And you just say, no, you need to step aside. We need to evaluate you a little bit further, make sure you're okay, and then you can return to the pitch. That's probably the biggest challenge that goes untalked about or undiscussed is it's not so much the identifying of the mental health issues or the head injuries, but it's dealing with them. And the athletes are ultimately the ones that have to deal with them. And so good things cooler head prevailed there for both Thomas and Cumberland, their medical staff and their coaching staffs.
So that was Joao Victor Felix who took it on the worst of it there for Thomas. So just in the game, he'll go back to the bench, take a seat. Austin Morenzoni also coming out of the game. So good to see both those guys able to get up and run off quickly. There's Bagayoko. We'll work it up to Mushioka. Back to Bagayoko. Myke Zamor. So Thomas really needing to come out with some intensity here in the second half. Down 3-0. Plays it high to Martin Walsh. Quickly cleared away as Zamor dispossesses him, and the Nighthawks just trying to play the match here in the last third of the field, but not having a whole lot of success thus far getting it there. Quick break here. Looks like we'll have a free kick as Walsh lines up behind it. So 8th minute of the second half, 3-0. Cumberland leading Thomas. Here comes the free kick from Walsh into the box. racing out to get it is Slottograph. There's Jack Chambers. Balled out, and Chambers will quickly throw it in. Slottograph gives chase. And not able to make it. So another goal kick as Slottograph takes a tumble there in the back end of the field.
Not that you needed a reason to root for Jack Chambers previously, but I like his body language here in the second half. Wanted to play fast, wanted to play quickly. Motions might have been the better of him right there as he threw the ball in too far, but even as he's coming back to the near side of the field where he's at, exchanged high fives with two of his teammates. You know, and whether that's a teammate picking him up saying, hey, buddy, it's all right, we'll get him next time, or him trying to boost morale because, Nick, you notice if you're constantly negative or pessimistic, you're not going to come back in any game that you're down 3-0 or even 1-0. And so I like the all-conference and the veteran player there trying to pick his team up. Listen, guys, we got to do this. We got to turn this over. We can do this together. Finding some positivity and some encouragement.
Absolutely. Bagayoko takes a tumble. That'll be another free kick. It'll be the 8th foul of the match on Thomas. Again, very much a statement-making opportunity here for both these squads. Trying to nab a high-profile non-conference win. It may come in handy later on this fall when we get closer to postseason play. Here's Musyoko. And we've got several players going down the box there as Barnes quickly rolls it out. But not able to save it is Diego Azar, so it will go back to Cumberland.
Yeah, just too stiff of a touch there, trying to set up that counterattack in the midfield. And so Cumberland will, again, casually take their time over the next 35 minutes protecting his 3-0 lead.
Number 20, Robin Winvogel, a new entry into the match here in the second half for Cumberland. Vogel, a freshman from Monaghan, Ireland. There's the Nighthawks. Chambers. Azar wins the battle, but quickly loses it on the rebound. Again, the good news for Thomas, despite being down 3-0, very experienced squad, 11 starters returning. So basically everyone who started last year is back. The seniors both in the starting lineup and on the bench, and you need some guys who have been through the battles, who've been through some of that adversity. You find yourself in a situation like this. That's a botched cross. Cumberland quickly pounces. There's Azar. Over to Bagayoko. He'll shield off the defender there on the far side. Tries to keep it in play, but out of bounds, and it will go to Thomas. See, just a powerful presence there by Bagayoko, easily shielding that defender off the ball. He's
good
a lot
play,
of muscle there.
Good play, too. Also, want to mention, I believe it's Myke Zamor, the center back there for Thomas, who's having to start this second half in the absence of Moriarty, who looks like he had an ankle injury at the end of that first half and doesn't appear to be returning in this contest, literally taken off on a cart. So I don't think there's anything from an emergency standpoint to be concerned about for Logan, but definitely does not look like he's returning the second half. So Coach Zambrano has gone even deeper into the bench across that back line, and so some quality experience coming for Zamor, who recovered after the mistake after his teammate to deter that attack away from Cumberland.
12 minutes in here in half number 2. Cumberland on top, 3-0. A quick whistle, and Thomas quickly puts it back into play. Here's Azar. Over to Ward. Back to Azar. The Nighthawks just looking to make something happen here. There's a collision between Azar and the defender for Cumberland, and so that'll be a free kick for the Phoenix. Getting ready to get back into play here. Yoko gets ahead on it.
Worth noting, too, Mother Nature is in Thomas's favor the second half. They fought into the win the first half. I'm not trying to say their lack of goal scoring or their lack of stopping goals in the first half attributed to the win, but things are always easier when the wind is at your back, and it's not always guaranteed that it's going to be there in the second half. And so a fortunate break for the Nighthawks here is that wind casually blows through about 5 to 10 miles an hour at the Nighthawks back here in the second half. Hopefully they can use that to their advantage.
Zamor up to Slotograph, back to Zamor. There's a race for the ball there as that's Sam Eyes getting knocked out, and we will have a corner kick.
Yeah, great ball by Zamor. Again, getting some quality experience in this second half for the Nighthawks. He's going to push forward into the box in this corner kick opportunity. Looks like actually he's going to be reeled back in from the sideline here. Call that Zamor will go back to midfield to protect that protect the lone attacker. But a shortened corner kick here for the Nighthawks to try to crack that goose egg off the scoring column.
Those will be Arbeliz on the free kick. Blasts it long.
Not sure what the intentions were there.
Yeah.
It ends up as a restart on the far sideline for Cumberland. Not exactly how you draw it up.
Early in the season, everyone's still trying to get their sense of timing and distance down. That ball is. Let's see, we'll have another free kick here.
I would say everyone except for Bagayoko.
Yeah,
he's in mid-season form.
He's
already.
not missed a beat.
No. He's responsible for. I didn't see if he officially got credit for the assist, but he should get credit for the hard work on goal number 2, and then scoring goal number 3 certainly doesn't help either. Doesn't hurt either, I should say.
So Cumberland, of course, they were originally set to play SCAD out of Savannah here on Monday. Again, because of the situation with Hurricane Dorian, that match has been canceled. SCAD not able to make the trip.
And that's the draw, too, for Steve DeCoon being able to host this Labor Day Classic. Great challenge there on the Thomas attacking half. And a whistle and a high kick going against Cumberland. But that's the draw for Steve DeCoon and GGC. We can bring teams from all over the place here to Lawrenceville on Labor Day weekend. You get multiple games in of high-quality competition.
There's a shot by Chambers well over the crossbar.
And you get the great Southern hospitality. You play on a great playing service. And, of course, you get the fantastic broadcast that comes along with it, too, as well. And so with the unfortunate circumstances with SCAD pulling out, we still wanted to be good hosts and good hosts and guests to all of our teams traveling in here. And so what could have been two games in one day and a full coverage for the Grizzly Digital Network. We certainly didn't want to punish Cumberland and Thomas for someone else canceling for extenuating circumstances beyond their control.
Absolutely.
And so certainly glad to have Nick to have you here and here on the call along with our 100% student-run production here at Georgia Gwinnett College. And so for any of the other coaches that out there that may be scouting on a Saturday afternoon, I know you're out there. Hello. They always find themselves tuned in here to the Grizzly Digital Network
crossing the box by Walsh and just missing there
because of the coverage. So we certainly want to extend the invite. Maybe in 2020 or 2021, get a hold of Coach DeCoon if you want to come experience Labor Day weekend in Lawrenceville. We'd love to have you.
was Aaron Wimberly coming out as Kevin Daly back into the match for Thomas. Thomas almost had number 4 right there. Check that. Cumberland almost had number 4 right there.
Yeah.
As Watson's shot is blocked.
We've basically seen Nick Cumberland score a variety of ways. It was a mistake made by the Thomas back line, cashed to in a goal by Watson. And then we saw a lot of hard work in the midfield, creating a turnover, creating an opportunity, and finding a Siri on the back door. And then we just saw momentum. We just saw a ton of momentum built by the Phoenix and finally cashed in for a goal. And that third one was a stern right hook right to the jaw for Thomas. They've come out hard in this second half, but Nick, it's just a matter of time here. I know 26 minutes is a lot in soccer, and you can certainly rally the momentum and rally an attack, but Cumberland's going to play ultra smart here underneath Adam Grant here in the second half. Oh. And every minute, every touch that the Phoenix have is just detrimental to the Nighthawks comeback.
There's Martin Walsh in a battle there in the near corner. Yeah, give Cumberland credit. It's very much Thomas getting the better of the Phoenix for about the first 15 minutes of the match, but then something was said because Cumberland just hit another level, and just a continual barrage down on Thomas's end of the field. And they're continuing to dictate the flow of the match here in the second half. Martin Walsh will line up for a free kick. First minute of half number 2. It's 3-0. Cumberland in control. It's a high looper into the box, and the whistle blows. We've got a shove against the Phoenix. Again, Thomas, led by head coach Ricky Zambrano in his 15th season at the helm. They've been there, one of the nation's best here in this past decade. 3 appearances to the national tournament. Had a spell at number 1 a few seasons ago. Trying to get back to that upper tier on the national spotlight. But right now, they have their hands full with this Cumberland squad. Daly over to Azar, back to Zamor. Over on the far side, they'll look for Slottograph. Chases it down in the corner, but again, not able to keep possession, and looks like we're going to have another goal kick. They've been looking for Slottograph on that far side here. Yeah. He's got some wheels, but just...
And you just need hope. You just need to see one get close. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you got to score the, a netminder here and to start the comeback. You just got to get a quality possession, a quality shot. On goal would be fantastic, don't get me wrong. But you just need hope. You just need a glimmer. You just need an opportunity here if you're Thomas to say, boys, we can do this. We just got to keep battling. We just got to keep fighting. And to Cumberland's credit, they just haven't. They've kept that door closed. No opportunities have existed in this second half for Thomas.
Of course, a big part of that is this Cumberland back line. Aiden Doherty, Waldenstrom, Daniel Pickin have all been instrumental in really clamping down on any type of creative flow that Thomas has tried to generate.
And Daniel Pickin, if I'm not mistaken, playing with a heavy heart, maybe a little bit lighter heart. I don't know how to say this, but Dad made the international flight from
right.
overseas and is in the ballpark here tonight, watching his son take on the Nighthawks. So That always works in one of two ways. Either you get nervous in front of Dad, or you get super excited and loose, and you play your best game ever.
Yep.
You know, you always hit it with birthdays too. Guys that play great on their birthdays, you know, they just feel a little bit more energy, a little bit more pep in the step. They feel a little more excited and always have great games.
Picking, of course, a junior out of Chorley, England. So, yep. We had the chance to chat with Dad for a few minutes before the match, and definitely excited to be here in Lawrenceville this weekend.
It's always a pleasure when speaking from a Georgia Gwinnett standpoint, as the voice of the Grizzlies here for 6 years now, it's always a pleasure to see that face. And they all look the same. They walk right down the hill. They come right into the tent in this expression of, I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. Please let me introduce myself and tell you the story. And so we get it all the time. Our crew loves it. We impact experiences for parents and families and friends literally from all over the world. The Pickin' family is just a small example of what's happened over the last years. We get the texts and the tweets and the emails from all over the place, and we certainly love what we do, and that's why we're doing it here today. And for the Thomas fans, we'll be back with you guys on Monday as you'll take on GGC, same noon start on Labor Day, and we'll broadcast that to you live here on the Grizzly Digital Network as well. So get on the tweets, get on the text, get on the emails, and let everybody know that we're live right now, and we'll be live on Monday too as well. We certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll have a break in the action here as got a man down for Cumberland. But yeah, heavy international flavor on both these rosters. Got Ireland and several players out of the UK for Cumberland, Australia, Kenya, Denmark. Over on the Thomas side, again, another strong contingent from the UK, Argentina. Of course, a few of our friends from north of the border in Canada. And the Southeast well represented. Georgia, Tennessee.
We see our first signs of that humidity getting to Cumberland. We talked about at the top of the broadcast. This could be an issue for the squad out of Lebanon, Tennessee versus a team from Thomasville, Georgia. They feel relieved from the heat and the humidity coming up here for Atlanta versus the Phoenix coming down here. They're experiencing that heat and humidity. We thought it would be an issue late in the second half, but fortunately enough for Cumberland, they've built themselves up enough cushion here with a 3-0 lead, and rightfully so here, not only with the cramp for the Cumberland player, but the official decides to send both teams to the sideline with the clock stopped here. They just kind of get some refresher, relax, get a swig in here real quick. Kind of coaches appreciate it. It's kind of like a fourth quarter timeout here, to use the American football analogy, to kind of get regrouped and reshaped and go on a run here over the last 22 minutes or so.
That was Bagayoko, actually, coming up gingerly. He'll take a break there on the bench. Try to get that cramp sorted out. I
would say if the roles were reversed or the circumstances were different, and Cumberland did have to play on Monday, I believe this is the end of his day. I mean, he's put in 60-plus minutes, assist and a goal, a 3-0 lead. His day would be done. They would rest him for Monday. But obviously they don't want to, barring any more injuries, I don't know if he'll come back into this contest or not. Certainly he has put in a hard day's work so far.
Definitely made his presence felt as Martin Walsh goes down just outside the box. Another free kick opportunity here for the Phoenix. It'll be just about, looks like 3 or 4 yards. Maybe a little further than that, outside the 18.
And again, with this possession, just valuable seconds taking off the clock here for Thomas as Cumberland sets up a goal-scoring opportunity.
It'll be Walsh and it will be Martin Walsh taking the kick in the box and deflected. That goes right off the backside of Diego Azar, so it'll be a throw-in for the Phoenix. There's Robin Winvogel. Winvogel and Walsh, both out of Ireland. High cross from Daly, but just over the head of his teammate, so possession goes back to Cumberland. In Cumberland 1-1 coming into this matchup today. Lost their opener to Tennessee Wesleyan, but then a big-time blowout win over Fisk earlier this week, 14-1. Several players getting in on the scoreline of that one.
If I'm not mistaken, I think in the first 10 minutes that score was 1-1. I think Cumberland scored 13 goals in a row.
The floodgates opened.
Yeah. That goes back to toting your conference's flag. You look at a program like Tennessee Wesleyan, middle to upper end of the pack in the AAC. They come away with an early victory versus Cumberland University. If Cumberland continues this success throughout the season, I know we're early, and Thomas does what they think they can do in the Sun Conference, Tennessee Wesleyan is going to be shouting from the mountaintops in Athens, Tennessee, saying, hey, we deserve more votes. We deserve to climb up in the poll because not only did we beat Cumberland, the best team in the Mid-South, but they beat the best team in the Sun Conference. And as silly as that sounds, Nick, that sort of soccer math, coaches use that when it comes to those conference raters and the standings, and, of course, try to improve seeding when it comes to the national tournament time. So, I mean, there's a group in Athens, Tennessee with Tennessee Wesleyan that's interested in the result of this game, too, as well. The Bulldogs are big fans of the Phoenix right now for the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
After that win.
Definitely gives a little more shine to that victory. Watson over to Walsh. And it will go back to Rivera. Walsh and Watson doing a good job of just controlling the tempo here as Walsh tries to work it in the box but can't get around the defender.
Again, quality effort from that Cumberland back line. No need to gamble, no need to do anything crazy. Stay goal side, and you're good to go.
Giving chase there for Thomas is Rochford Smith, but not able to bring it in. You know, that back line for Cumberland, again, you've got Jonathan Waldenstrom, Moranzoni, Aiden Doherty, just some of the key names there. They've got quality depth. They've been able to rotate about 4 or 5 other guys into that back line, and everyone's done their job thus far today. Another break here, so about 18.5 minutes to go here from the Grizzly Soccer Complex. 3-0. Cumberland leading over Thomas. Tyler Watson, Ben Siri, and Bakari Bagayoko all finding the back of the net this afternoon.
Worth noting, to the goal scorer there, Bagayoko come off about 6 minutes ago. Might have got scuffed up, might have had a little bit of a cramp. And that last sub for Cumberland sends off Azar, too. So you talk about 2 of the prominent goal scorers for the Phoenix will step off the pitch and get the last 18.5 minutes. So at least that's the plan for Adam Grant for the remainder of this contest with a 3-0 lead. But if there's ever an opportunity to strike for Thomas, it would be now. With 2 of the best goal scorers for Cumberland, some of that may be more of a defensive-minded substitution for the Phoenix. They might be a little bit on their heels. By the way, just off camera to your right over here, there's a Thomas player that's down, and he's cramping as well. So that's the activity that subsided temporarily.
In the game for Cumberland, it will be Kevin Pierce, redshirt junior out of Franklin, Tennessee, seeing his first action of the afternoon. There's another guy who's had a solid performance today for Cumberland is Wilson Musioka, the junior from Mombasa, Kenya. Midfielders won a lot of balls, been able to work it up to the big guns on the front line there with Bagayoko and Watson. Again, we'll take another water break here as coming off of the pitch for Thomas is number 15, Diego Azar. So had a few guys maybe cramping up. It is still hot. It is still technically August for at least a few more hours here in Metro Atlanta. Not quite as hot as it was about a week or 2 ago, and we were hitting close to 100 a few times. So I think September is going to be welcomed in with open arms. Czar comes off the field and looks like Jack Chambers is back in. So we will restart the action now. 18.5 minutes to go here at the Grizzly Soccer Complex. 3-0. Cumberland leads Thomas. The Nighthawks just trying to get something going here as they work it into Cumberland half of the pitch. Rochford Smith battling for it, but unable to win it. Comes Ben Siri. Tried to find a through ball there, but I don't think they were on the same page, and so Thomas will clear it. And Musioka again, he's been busy. Tyler Watson, Martin Walsh, all those guys for Cumberland have really done a great job of winning those one-on-one battles, dictating the flow of action here. Quick throw in by Eyes. And Doherty will just kick it back to Rule, who clears it. You can tell that back line for Cumberland's played together for a few seasons. Very organized. Ball stay inbounds as Walsh works it around. There to dispossess him is Zamor. Works it up to Eyes, but it will go out and another goal kick. So 7 shots on the afternoon for Cumberland, 3 on goal. Of course, all 3 of those have gone in. 5 shots for Thomas with 1 on target. 23 fouls total, 10 on Cumberland, 13 for Thomas. And a pair of yellow cards also for the Nighthawks. It's been a frustrating afternoon for them. Here comes Watson. Over to Siri. Siri with the shot into the back of the net. That's a brace for the freshman, Ben Siri.
Double dips.
Having
here.
himself a day.
Double dips on Labor Day weekend. Not allowed to double dip.
2 scoops for him, and it's 4-0 now. As Ben Siri having a great start to his collegiate career. As that is the exclamation point for Cumberland as they are on their way to a victory here in the opening match of the Labor Day Classic. It's Adam Grant in his 3rd season now, and he may have himself a squad as the Phoenix looking to defend their conference title from last year and maybe do even more. Rochford Smith tries to keep it in, crosses into the box. Was Daly trying to get a boot on it, but quickly snuffed out by the defense. We'll have a corner here for Thomas. 14.5 minutes to go. 4-0 Cumberland. It's cleared out as Walsh chases Kevin Pierce. Cumberland now just content to cede possession to Thomas as the Nighthawks just unable to break through that back line. Of course, talked about Bagayoko, the big gun. His day is done, just taking a seat on the bench now. So the Phoenix, again, they have a lot of pieces of the puzzle back from last year. It's going to be Zamor taking the throw in on the near side for Thomas. Back to Azar. Looking ahead here for Cumberland. Their next match will be a week from Tuesday. So they play at Milligan College in Milligan, Tennessee. Of course, later on in the season, they've got a road date against number 21 Bethel. Lindsey Wilson, 17th in the nation, awaits them in October. So
yeah, circle that one again there. That's a big showdown from the conference championship. Cumberland won the regular season. Lindsey Wilson wins the conference tournament title. And so certainly that's a big rivalry there in the Mid-South that they're going to be looking to add another chapter to that story between the Blue Raiders and the Phoenix. Campus is separated by just a couple of hours, so big matchup in the Mid-South in October.
Of course, they'll have their conference tournament in Bowling Green, Kentucky in early November. So, been all Cumberland this afternoon. A brace by the freshman, Ben Siri. Bakari Bagayoko also finding the back of the net, as did Tyler Watson, the junior from Simi Valley, California. And a lot of credit, again, to that Phoenix back line. They've just not allowed any penetration at all.
Yeah, tip of the cap. I mean, there's nothing else to it. So this game continues to move on here in the second half. Cumberland's got some of their better attacking players, better starters on the attacking side of the pitch, getting some much-needed rest after a quality performance. Thomas very opportunistic, just couldn't find enough opportunities here. Had some breakdowns defensively in the final third, and this is certainly a score that a lot of coaches are going to use to their advantage, including Adam Grant, to move up in the coaches poll, to move up and potentially in those new ranking systems that's going to be used now to determine postseason seeding for the national championship. And again, to kind of spill the beans a little bit here, Nick, I don't know how much the Cumberland fans or the Thomas fans knows, but the opening round format has changed this year too as well. Previously, it was a total of 31 teams that made the national championship. When you add the host team out there in California, it makes a 32-team field, and it made 15 opening round qualifying sites. Well, now the field is expanded to 48 teams, which means those 16 opening round sites are not going to host one team. They're going to host two teams. So let's say you're fortunate enough to be a 1 seed. On a Friday night, the 2 and 3 teams are going to play each other, with the winner turning around playing on Saturday with the right to go to that final site in Orange Beach, California. So once you get to Irvine, California, to Orange County, I should say, to Irvine, California, it's still the same format there. Sweet 16, single elimination all the way to the national championship. But the opening round format is a little bit different.
Free kick, and that will go into the back of the net. It counts. Hard to see for a moment there, but that was number 10, Gavin Rodford Smith. So Thomas was able to get on the score line here. Unfortunately, maybe too little too late.
Correct. A solid effort out of the senior there. He's really good at those finishing opportunities at the top of the 18. And so, as one of the senior leaders on this Thomas team that's going to go back to the hotel try to get some rest tomorrow. Maybe go to the drawing board a little bit for Ricky Zambrano before he takes on number 12, Georgia Gwinnett, on Monday. But maybe something to build off of from a positive standpoint.
So again, Rochford Smith getting the goal there, the senior from Bath, England. And he led the Mid-South Conference last year in assists, also was 9th in points per game. Also on the United Soccer Coaches NAIA Men's Scholar All-South region. So he's got a good resume.
Cumberland also going through the heat and the humidity now. A third player is going to be escorted off because of those cramps. That is some of the worst pain for an athlete when your body breaks down on you for nothing more than just the conditions that you're around.
The Phoenix working it into that front third now. Watson crossing into the box. And that was Rivera able to get a boot on it. Up ahead to Rochford Smith. Over to the far side, but Chambers was not ready for it. And here come the Phoenix. Siri looked for the through ball there, but it was blocked. Back over to Chambers. Chambers, the shot low. Rochford Smith on the edge of the box.
I was going to say, don't let this one go in.
Tried to find Chambers, but it will go out.
And so certainly if you use, going back to that new playoff format, there's also a new rating system that determines those top 48 teams in the nation too as well. There's still going to be the automatic qualifier. So take for a case in point last year, a team like Cumberland who loses in the championship to Lindsey Wilson, who gets that automatic bid to the opening round by winning the conference tournament. Then you would look at using the new format, a team like Cumberland University that was very good all season long, 10 wins, regular season conference championship. Would they have the resume to be one of those at-large teams to make it a final site? Now, I think there's certainly a case to be made that Cumberland was one of the best 32 teams in the nation last year. The problem is there's so many automatic bids that there just weren't enough slots for the Phoenix to slide into. Well, now with the field expanding into 48 teams, I don't think there's any doubt that Cumberland's one of the best 48 teams from a year ago that would have an opportunity to play in that 2-3 matchup in what would be the opening round. So a little hypothetical situation for you there, but just trying to paint the picture for what is coming in 2019, an expanded national tournament field, 2 games instead of 1 at the opening round, 15 sites, with a chance to go to the Sweet 16 in Irvine, California.
When you know there's going to be increased opportunity, it certainly ups the ante for motivation and knowing that you're going to have a better chance than maybe you did a year ago.
And you've seen it so many times, not only at this level, Nick, but a lot of sports and a lot of different opportunities is all some teams need is a chance. And so we'll dissect it throughout the season. It'll be a talking point on Monday for sure, because I want to bring back the 2016 season when GGC played Thomas in that opening round down there in Thomasville, Georgia. We'll talk about that on Monday. But all you need is a chance and an opportunity, because so many teams, or so many pundits, I should say, would argue, well, it's not fair. 2 and 3 have to play an extra game on Monday. I can assure you, tell Cumberland that. They would we would love to play in that 2-3 game with an opportunity to play for the national championship instead of letting some sort of administrative shortcomings of just from a number standpoint not being able to play for a national championship. Cumberland would love the opportunity last year to play in the opening round, regardless of how many games they had to play.
Into the box, shot, and there's another goal there for number 22. That's Mateo Arbeláez, the junior out of Orlando.
And so now complacency setting in just a little bit for Cumberland.
Well, credit Arbeláez, was able to get it off the deflection there and a quick strike once he was able to bring that ball down. So Thomas able to get 2 back here in the closing minutes. Still down by 2, 4-2 now, Cumberland on top. But at the very least, Matt, you got to say it's a little bit of a confidence booster for them. Maybe had a sluggish start today, but they certainly have the firepower to get things going when they want to.
And certainly Abalez and Rockford Smith are two of the best players that they've got on the team. We expected, if you had told me both those guys were going to score today, I would not have been surprised. I would have said, yes, that's Thomas's MO. That's how they play, creating another opportunity here moving forward. But just come out really lackadaisical in that first half and made some bad mistakes in the defensive third, which just dug them too big of a hole too soon.
Chambers battling there, trying to get it in. Works it again for Arbeláez, but that time the shot is well wide. So Thomas not giving in here. They're going to go the full 90. Shown a little bit of energy here with just 5.5 minutes to go.
What's interesting, I'm thinking about this from a rating standpoint, listening to some of those coaches sell or negate some of those other resumes and strength of schedules and all that fun stuff there. By Thomas scoring 2 of these goals, it opens up the opportunity of, we had a bad 15 minutes and it cost us a game versus how much Cumberland has absolutely dominated this performance here today.
Yeah.
It creates a narrative that's better for Thomas even despite the loss.
Here's Chambers again now, pushing it into the box, cross, but this time not able to find it as Nicholas Roll quickly comes up with it.
And again, you go from being dominated to 2 late goals. If you get a third one to squeak in here, the narrative changes to we only lost by 1. But anybody who watched this game knows that Cumberland dominated.
Phoenix certainly have been dictating the terms of this match. A late charge here by Thomas, trying to pull off a miracle. They still got their work cut out. Just 4 minutes, 23 seconds to go. Over to Rochford Smith, crossing to the box and just missing the boot there of the intended target. And there,
oh my.
We've got a man down. I think it's Rivera going down. Let's see what happens.
We're getting a PK. Wow.
How about this?
Wow. Just like that. A mental breakdown. A checking out by Cumberland.
Wow.
We know they don't have to play on Monday. They're probably going to save a night stay at a hotel, but they have completely checked out here over the last 10 minutes.
Stay with us, folks. This is getting interesting. That was Rene Rivera going down in the box. And it will be a penalty kick here. That's going to be Gavin Rochford Smith. Of course, he scored a few minutes ago to make it 4-1. Now a chance to make it 4-3. Shot into the back corner and in. They fight over the ball. Of course, Thomas quickly wanting to get it back to the center line.
And the difference is here, and what's somewhat frustrating in college soccer in America is normally that clock is running, and so there's been the referee's responsibility to add stoppage time. So there can be gamesmanship by a goalkeeper to lay on that ball to try to kill the clock. But here, college soccer in America, when goals score, the clock on the field, on the board, which is dictated by the center referee, actually stops. So there's no killing of the clock. If you elect to punt this ball into DeKalb County, you're welcome to, but it's going to stop the clock. So there's no real gamesmanship or wasting of time from a team that is trailing. But more importantly, too, it kind of changes the development. Like you think about other sports, Nick, and I go on the soapbox, so stop me whenever I've gone too far here. Is every sport you get to at least finish out the play as the clock expires, right? Think about in football. If you snap the ball before it goes 0, you can heave the ball downfield for a Hail Mary, right? Or in basketball, as long as you get the shot off before the horn, it can still go in and count. For soccer, possession isn't necessarily so time-oriented. You can keep possession with passes and dribbling down toward the goal, and you can finish the play, so to speak, and that's when the referee would draw the game, the game would be over, so to speak. But here in college soccer in America, they don't allow that. It's literally a race against the clock for the next 3 minutes and 30 seconds for Thomas, and it just provides a sort of uncharacteristic, over-the-top pace that isn't necessary for this game. And so I petitioned for it for years to get it changed, but nobody ever listens to me.
I think a lot of those guys going by what they've always known growing up.
Correct.
But they,
correct.
Again, one of the unique quirks of soccer on this particular level, but Gavin Rochford-Smith has struck twice here in the closing minutes. It's a 4-3 match. Roll comes up with a big save there.
And again, to shed one more negative light, and I'll step off the soapbox. I'll physically do it after I say this, Nick. College soccer in America is the only clock in soccer that still counts down. I mean, 20 years ago in international soccer, they changed that rule to count up to the way it is now. And even the official scoring from a standpoint still says the goals scored in the appropriate minute. But for whatever reason, of course I know the reason, but for whatever reason, here in college soccer in America, that clock still counts down from 45 minutes.
Martin Walsh doing a circus performance down there in the corner, able to shield off two defenders for about 10 seconds before finally he is dispossessed. So we're down to 2 minutes and 14 seconds to play here. And Thomas trying to pull back off an improbable comeback. It's 4-3. They were down 4-0 about 12 minutes ago. But they have come out with a fury here in these closing minutes. It's Cumberland now just trying to hang on. How big now is that second goal by the freshman Ben Siri?
Yeah.
Which made it 4-0. Thomas now pushing it back into the, and there's Chambers. Cross into the box, looking for Rochford-Smith. Goes off of his boot. Up. Ref says it last touch by Cumberland, so we've got a corner kick.
Let's get real interesting, Nick.
1 minute.
Let's get
16 seconds.
real interesting here.
Here comes the corner. Into the box. Headed out, and Cumberland just trying to push it back. There's a low looper into the box.
Flag up.
And he is offside. So that looked like that was Arbelayez. He scored that second goal for Thomas and just a half step ahead of the last defender there. We're down to the final 43 seconds. It's Cumberland 4, Thomas 3. It's actually been a very entertaining matchup here in the opener of the 2019 Labor Day Classic here at the Grizzly Soccer Complex.
At least the last 15 minutes.
Yeah. Cumberland put on a clinic here for about 75 minutes. Got a man down to 25 seconds on the clock. Again, this is it for Cumberland, as that second matchup on Monday was canceled due to Scavs withdrawal. So Thomas will have another match in 48 hours, but trying to pull off a miracle here with 25 seconds to go. Ben Barnes getting ready to drill it down to the other end. So here we go. Headed out by Cumberland, and that was off the edge of the boot. So Thomas catches a break. Quick throw in here. 12 seconds to go. It's Chambers. Final 10 seconds. Headed into the box. A battle down low. 1 second, and that's going to do it. So Cumberland survives a furious final few minute rally from Thomas, and it is the Phoenix taking this one. Cumberland knocks off Thomas. 4-3 is your final. The freshman, Ben Siri, coming up big. 2 goals today, and it was the second one that was especially important. That was number 4, and that was the difference maker. So hats off to Cumberland. They dominated most of this match, but we also got to give credit to Thomas. They never quit, made it very entertaining here in the final few minutes. But the charge just not enough, Matt, as give Cumberland credit for keeping their composure and hanging on for the victory.
What would have been a score that would send waves throughout the entire country, a 4-0 victory for Cumberland, really making their case to climb into the top 25 as one of the best teams in the Mid-South early in the 2019 season, turns into a win and a feather in the cap but it's Thomas is going to come out of here in a better shape than what was 15 or 20 minutes ago. Thomas with some positive momentum going into a huge matchup against somewhat of a rival or a friendly foe in Georgia Gwinnett, who's the 12th ranked team in the nation on Monday. So what would have been a miserable middle of your Labor Day weekend on Sunday, sitting around a hotel and sitting around Atlanta, licking your wounds and trying to come up with something positive, 3 goals over the last 15 minutes swings that momentum to where they may now have some confidence going in against Georgia Gwinnett on Monday at noon, which we'll broadcast for you live right here on the Grizzly Digital Network.
Take a look at some of the final stats here this afternoon. Again, 4-3 your final. Cumberland defeats Thomas. 8 shots on goal for 8 shots total for the Phoenix, 4 on goal. All of those, of course, counting for goals. 10 shots by Thomas, 5 on target. It was 30 fouls, 15 apiece for each team. 2 saves by the Cumberland goalkeeper, Nicholas Roll. He had a nice performance today. But again, your scoring leader, the freshman, Ben Seary, making a case here that he's going to be an impact player for Cumberland in this 2019 campaign. So he scores twice. Also Tyler Watson and the big gun Bakari Bagayoko also scoring today. So all in all, Matt, except for those final 15 minutes, a well-played game here by Cumberland.
Absolutely. Again, unfortunate for them, they will not play on Monday. They'll check out of the hotel, head back to Lebanon, Tennessee. Well wishes to them for the rest of the season, and safe travels for them as always. Nick, certainly glad you're able to be here and spend some time on your Labor Day weekend. What are you doing Monday?
I think we'll come back here, right?
Sounds
we'll do
good
it again.
to me, buddy.
We'll do it again. It's the host, Georgia Gwinnett College Grizzlies, will take on this same Thomas team. Again, kicking off Monday at noon Eastern, so be here for that on the Grizzly Digital Network. But again, today's final, it's Cumberland 4, Thomas 3. For Matt Mahoney, I'm Nick Banaszak on the Grizzly Digital Network. Have a great Labor Day weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.